Toxic positivity. I don't know. Some call it the power of self-belief. Something that isn't really taught, unfortunately. But then, the education system is inherently fucked. It's the best way of really putting it. There's no nice way around it. It's fucked. Like, you see that especially in the UK. Like, you would think, with all of the information that we have, and being the most, or having the most information that humans have ever had, education would be something that should be supported and or wanted for the future. Because what a lot of people miss is stupid people are going to run the fucking world. If nothing is done and shit gets left unchecked, then, what a lot of people miss is that in 50 years, a lot of these people that don't have an education, have no interest in an education, are going to be running the world. Which should scare the fuck out of most people. Like, when you see what's going on in the world and the sort of culture wars and media landscape, it's like, there's a reason governments want to keep people stupid. And you've got to blame the governments because, information kind of gets filtered down from above. It's all of the systems that are in place are enforced and or reiterated by the governments. And the thing that they seem to miss is that an educated and or civil society will deal with disagreements in a civil way. Not everyone, But it's something I found especially more and more that people don't want to talk. People don't want to have conversations anymore. The minute you try to engage in conversation, it becomes a personal battle and or a game of tit for tat. And that's the problem with a stupid society. There is no formal debate. There is no civic discourse. And if everyone were educated, I tend to think there would be less crazy, well, not less crazy people, but, less of this crazy discourse where one has to attack the other because they disagree with you. Because I've had it in the past. I've been attacked for opinions, which is fucking laughable. Because, like I say, we've been uninformed intentionally. And at a certain point, it's like, it is exactly that. It's much like the issue with fossil fuels. The reason people don't talk about it or don't even realise it is because of education. Everyone understands that if you lock yourself in a room with a car, you're gonna die. But we're in a giant snow globe, so we don't see the effects directly. It's like, I likened it to my friend as like the only reason we moved away from coal power was because we could see the smog, we could see the air pollution. With modern technology and, modern cars, you don't see it. You don't see the poison. You don't see the damaging effects and how it's slowly killing everyone at a, increasing rate. Because like I say, parts per million. Simple scientific thing, how to measure air quality. And at a certain point, yeah. Like I say, trap yourself in a room long enough, you're going to fucking die. It's pretty simple. But we're all trapped on the planet together and no one seems to actually understand that. But then a lot of that's lack of education. It's intentional. There's a reason the gas and oil supplies are mostly centralised. It's because they don't want you to realise that you can power your vehicles from vegetable oils and ethanols for a lot cheaper, like. And the reality is, like I say, you can't centralise something that everyone can do for themselves. But it comes back around to the self-reliance, which, yeah, the education system is at flaw. Whilst I didn't have the best of education, it was mostly because of my own fault. But it's not to say, it's like I was very much self-reliant before I did a degree. But I saw the people that had come fresh out of school hit the wall. Because for the first time, they have to be reliant on themselves. They have to teach themselves. They have to, learn themselves. And I was kind of shocked because, you have this idea or mentality that you go to university and you get taught, you get shown, you get, taught. But in a lot of situations, there is no. It's very informal, and like I say, if you're not entirely self-reliant to begin with, you're not going to be on the other end. But at a certain point, when the government and or the entire system wants to keep you stupid, this is more why you should want to educate yourself. Like, this is the only reason I want to get a doctorate, because I can rub it in everyone's salty fucking faces. And likewise, force them to call me Dr. Lukey, because, haha, bitches. Like I say, it's silly, I know. But at the same time, when I'm looking down the barrel of 150 grand's worth of education that I don't really, I was going to say I don't really need. I do need, let's face it. Wouldn't be quite so far behind in so many ways if that were the case. But I was thinking, like, with the art I do, is like, you would think it would be very easy to get people to support it, people to buy into it, people to, because why wouldn't you want to explore your imagination? Why wouldn't you want to see what the potential is? But then, when the whole world is fixated on entertainment and chaos, it's like not very interesting. But you see the crossover now with education, like they're having to start to entertain in education just to keep people's attention, which is fucking sad, man. Like, read a book. Like, you want to build your attention span, it's pretty simple. Read a book. But I point out the sort of positive self-delusion and or belief in self, because it comes from learning about mindset, learning about what you want out of life, what you want to achieve, what your vision is for the world. I don't know. Hard to define, but And I bring it up because I've spent weeks and weeks and weeks making birdhouses. And I know what you're looking at is kind of wacky, because I didn't paint these. I let my friend paint them, because why not? But why am I spending all this time making birdhouses when I don't have a house myself? Because I believe very much in the goal and or the outcome of the goal. i.e. getting to a place where I can actually utilize them. And while some, like I say, may call it toxic positivity, some will call it delusion, pick and fucking thing. Self-belief. Knowing that you will reach an outcome even if the current circumstances far outweigh the expected. Yeah. It's a hard thing to define. But this is why I show you, because it's like, as much as I may flip-flop and talk about random things and, well, like I mentioned with the civil discourse, it's the ability to change your opinion based on new information. Something that's lost on small minds, but something that I think is very important, especially with learning. But it's that, and like I say, I could fix a lot of the problems I have with the birdhouses I have, and you've got to look at the grand picture of it, if you know what I mean. I'm planning, because I want to make a birdhouse totem pole or a totem pole birdhouses. I don't know. And the thing is, if I can do it now where I have no space, no resources, when I have when I have the tools, when I have the workshop, when I have the ability to work and do these things, it will be so much easier. And I already have a start. And this is why I say it's like the ability to plan for a future that only you can see. Whilst it's something that, refined passion. I don't know how you quite define it, but goes back around to, like I say, skills. Honing skills, even if you don't necessarily need them. It's like the two canvases you're looking at. I can make canvases. The two canvases you're looking at are stretched canvases I made several years ago at this point. That I decided to paint over because fuck it. Not selling as an abstract piece. Paint over it. Doesn't matter, does it? But that's why the kind of silliness with it. And also why it's about 2 or 3 inches deep comparative to normal ones. And quite a bit heavier than normal ones. Yeah. I think this piece kind of sums it up beautifully. It's like, whilst I could have done it in a lot more of a refined way, it's like, fuck it, life's too short, just have fun. I'm over it, if that makes sense. I'm just gonna fuck around, be conceptual. But it's a beautiful metaphor for life, because most people will inevitably spend their lives trapped in a cage of their own making. And some will just get lost or yeet themselves into oblivion because they see that as the only way out. But there's always going to be some resourceful motherfuckers that find a way. This is why I say, beauty of meaning is lost on those that don't understand symbolism. But, yeah. Not for me to explain art, it's for me to fuck around and make it. And then, well, it is what it is, isn't it? And this is why I say it's like, if you worry about the markets or everything else that goes into becoming successful as an artist, you'll never actually have fucking fun. Which is why I love to do what I do, because, yep, fun. This is why I say, is like, there's a time for everything, I think. It's much like when I applied for a master's, I got onto the course, realised there was no funding, and then decided that, why suffer, struggle, and fight? If something's not meant to be, wait. Because like I say, I'll get a doctorate eventually. It's like, whether it be in this life or the next. Because that's the thing. It's like, I'm doing this whether anyone likes it or not. Like, I don't care if it takes the rest of my life to do it. It's like, nothing better to do. But is that, and there's a time and a place for things. And as much as I would love to educate more and or help more people, I'm a firm believer the best way to help people is help yourself. And this is why, I give you insights. This is why I chat and do the things I do, because it just gives you a bit of insight and or explains why I don't talk much, because have thought about setting up a Patreon just so I can actually chat a bit more, because the way the world is going, it's like, becoming more and more dangerous just to have these sort of earnest discussions and or just to chat. Or even, like I say, sharing opinions, talking about fucking history. Holy shit, there's so much where it's like, ooh, it is so toxic. And this is what I say with the education system. It is like, it is by design fucked. Because they teach a bunch of things that are fundamentally not true. And then when you find out the truth, it sort of disenfranchises you from actually wanting to learn more. Like, and then, like I say, trying to argue with stupid people. Well, not even argue with stupid people, trying to just share facts. Like, Egypt, that's a fucking classic one. Because there's no way. Like, there's no way. Anyone that's done any amount of earth movement or moving of objects is like, yeah. Too many things don't make sense, and it doesn't matter how many fucking people you have, it's like, But that's the difference between, teaching yourself about a subject and or following a narrative. And that's the thing with a lot of education nowadays. It tries too hard to create a narrative rather than just following what is true and or factual, scientific. Yeah. Well, you see it in the culture wars, you know what I mean? Like, I nearly fell out with a friend because of the whole trans debate, and I was trying to argue that, hermaphrodites have been a thing since the dawn of time, dawn of history, it's not an uncommon thing, and, for all these cross-dressers that want to pretend, it's like, it just takes away from the people that actually have to suffer, you know what I mean? It's like, but wokeism, it's easier to fight over wokeism than actually talk about the real problems, which is everyone's poisoning the world and or poisoning the world around us. Yeah. Not saying they're connected, but, would be a good way of distracting people, wouldn't it? keep them focused on bullshit rather than actually educating. Because like I say, when you actually think about it, it's like, yeah, it doesn't really add up, does it? Like a friend had to explain to someone that, things will continue to increase because of technology. It's not like we're using more and more fossil fuels. Like the rise in sort of planes and pick a thing, like, and when it's so common and so predominant, well, like I say with a snow globe, it's a certain tipping point where it's like the oxygen will be unbreathable and or will start to actively kill people. Sounds doom and gloom, but like I say, I ain't some fucking activist. Like just feel there should be a bit more of a earnest discussion about the actual, well, I want to say the actual science, but even that's been fucking agenderized. How to use entirely the wrong English, but yeah. It's been turned into an agenda rather than actually focusing on what is scientifical, which, yeah. Goes back around to the money thing, because, there's a lot of money in keeping people stupid and or making sure that people don't know what's going on around them, because if they did, then they'd question it, and then if they questioned it, well, people would stop making so much money, wouldn't they? If everyone was producing their own fuel, why would you need gas stations? It's a lot of infrastructure and a lot of very wealthy people that have got a vested interest in making sure that things are kept the way they are, which, as I say, is only a detriment to themselves, really, and their kids and their kids' because it's, it's a knock-on effect. It's not now, it's the 20, 30, 40 years when all these fucking idiots are in control. And, well, you think the world is bad now, it's like... But that's the stupid thing with, like I say, governments. They seem to think that smart people are going to fight more, which is ironically stupid, because generally the smarter you are, the more likely you are to actually talk about your fucking problems. There's a reason academics don't strap bombs to their chest, let's be real here. Might have heated disagreements and, they might devolve into petty insults, but that's about as far as it'll ever go. And this is why I say it's like, an educated society creates more of a civil discourse. And, well, you've only got to look at who profits from it remaining the way it is. Why wouldn't you want people to be smarter? Why wouldn't you want to help people? Classic example. I saw someone point out the scam with Africa and how, trillions and trillions of pounds have been sent there, and yet things very much seem the same as they have been. It's like, yeah, because money doesn't go to where it should. It's like you're not focusing on actually educating and making something better. You're just focused on, lining the pockets of those that have some education. It's like I say, not going to fix the world overnight. It's going to be a generational thing, but it all starts and ends with education, which, as much as I hate the current system because it is so fucking flawed, like, it's a start. You've got to start somewhere, and this is why I say it's like, at least there's got to be some discussion. I mean, fuck me. I'm not that smart. Not academically, really. I mean, I'm creative as hell, and whilst that is a form of intelligence, it's like, there's smarter people than me. This is why kind of baffling, but like I say, some of it's by design, so this is why you just got to kind of carve out your own thing and do your own thing and figure it back out. But like I say, bit by bit, day by day, figure it out as we go. As always, if you want to help support the content and or videos, check out the description. There is links to stuff and things. Still looking for a publisher for the second book, but like I say, money. The ironic thing with publishing is you can just pay a publishing house. Which, yeah, it's kind of a sensible way around it because you get the quality and they actually do all of the marketing and yada yada, yakety schmackety, but still got to have the money to do it, which is, yeah. It's a frustrating thing with, wanting to do the work but not having the means to do the work. It's like, But hey, it's only money. This is what I say. It's like, if that's the only reason to, be upset and or it's like, well, I can get money. It's not, might take time, but it's just money. It'll come. This is why I'm just focusing on what I can do. This is why I mentioned possibly setting up the Patreon for some of the art, because whilst I can put some of it on the website, there's not really a place, as much as these places like to talk about freedom of speech and freedom of expression, it doesn't actually exist, really. It's like mostly depends on who you are and how popular you are. I think that's the caveat. And as I've remained very much as an outsider, which is probably always going to be a thing because it's what I love to do. It's the only way you get work done is on the outside of things. The minute you get into the public eye, you start to get more and more questions and fucking yada yada. Like I say, pick a company or person. It's like all in due time. This is why I say it's like, all in due time, but got to put the cart before the horse, which is why I say I got to kind of focus on getting the resources to continue. Because like I say, if I want to continue learning, I have to pay it all myself. Whilst there are some loans, and like I say, that's all they are, loans. Which, well, last I checked, the course was 25, the loan was 7. It's like a quarter of the cost. And that's not including any of the, living expenses, life, resources, paint, canvases. Yeah. And like I say, we're setting up a workshop because I could make all the canvases myself. I can do all that sort of stuff myself and or teach you how to make wacky. Because that's the thing with this, is like a lot of these weird designs and crazy shapes is a lot of just fucking around in a different way. Because it's something I would love to do, is make omnidirectional canvases. I was going to say three-dimensional, but yeah. Multi-sided canvases. I don't know how you quite define it. Fuck knows. Put it on the back burner. I'm going to try not to think too much about things like that because I've already got enough projects before I've even got the place, you know what I mean? It's like, I need the place, I need the resources. Oh, fucking hell, yeah. I've got like 2 years worth of work before I even start thinking about what else. But all in due time. But yeah, I'm not, like I say, I'm not convinced that the Patreon is just an idea at the moment. Got to think of ways to get there step by step, one way or another. It's kind of where the weekly videos have come into play, but it's a bit frustrating because there's not much to talk about. It's the thing with progress. Incremental progress doesn't look like progress. On a very basic level, it's like tedious, painfully tedious, but hey. Progress is progress. So, if you've got any questions, read a book. And I'll be back with something, somewhere, somehow, some way. Thank you very much for watching. Stay awesome. Be positive. Until the next time. Peace out, my lovers.